I literally just consider myself like a life photographer. I literally just love documenting life. That could be commercially for a client. That could be taking photos of my wife on a vacation. That could be photographing my family. That could be out on the streets. I literally just want to be confident and comfortable that in any situation in life, I can make a photograph. My name is Joe Greer. I am a freelance photographer living in Brooklyn, New York. I love photographing hands and feet. For some reason, in a city of 9 million people, to compose a shot and to create a moment that is so simple and so slowed down, I don't know, I'm drawn to those compositions. You'll see that in my work come up quite a bit, actually. These beautiful moments come in and out of our life in a split second. I just literally, as long as I have my camera on me, I want to be confident that I can make a photo at any given time, because those beautiful moments, I don't know, I'm drawn to the mundane, the unlikely, those moments that happen purely because of happenstance. I just happen to be there at the right time, at the right place, and I'm able to make a photograph. That is what I'm searching for. That is what I'm seeking. I just want depth, emotion, laughter, humor. I just want there to be life in my images. As long as I can do that and I have a camera in hand, I'm happy. Oh, I love her heels. Hold on. My use of color is what makes my images stand out, I think. I love color. I shoot some black and white, but I think color is where it's at. But also, like, in terms of subject matter, like I'm always shooting so many different things. Like I'm not stuck in one lane in terms of photography. Like, I don't want to be known as like, oh, Joe Greer, he's the dude that shoots street, or he's the dude who just shoots portraits of his wife, or he's the dude that just shoots landscapes, or he's the dude that just shoots commercial jobs for whatever, or he's the dude that just shoots weddings. Like, photography is a massive highway. This is the way that I view photography and the way that I view what I do as a career. It's a massive highway. There's multiple lanes. I don't want to be stuck in one lane. I want to be able to change lanes whenever I want and feel confident that I can switch lanes. Photography, I think you can. I think as a photographer, you can, and I encourage photographers that you should change lanes. I think a photographer should try to experience and put themselves in uncomfortable positions and photograph things that you're not normally photographing, because how else do you know that you love it if you don't try it? For the longest time, I was purely 100% just making money through Instagram. A brand would reach out, a client would reach out, hey, we want you to take a photo of this product, whatever, share it to your followers, we'll pay you this amount. I was like, dude, this is awesome. Oh my gosh, yes, let's do this, let's do this. And that's like all of my, so much so that people wanted to work with me purely based on my following. And then I was like, you know what? This is probably not healthy. That if and when Instagram goes away, all of my work goes away. So how can I start getting work with clients where they want me for what's in here? They want me for how I see the world. They want me for how I do what I do behind a camera. That's what I want clients to want me for. I think a goal for me, like social media isn't the end goal for me. I think for me, over the last, 3 years, as I started when I was living in Portland, Oregon, started collecting photo books. Since then, all I've ever wanted to do was make a photo book of my own. That is a goal of mine that I've yet to achieve. There are 2 goals that I wanted to achieve in the last few years, and I've achieved one of them recently. One was having my own exhibit. Had my debut exhibit last year with Leica. And I've got my debut exhibit coming up next month with Hasselblad. And I'm very thankful for those opportunities to be able to share my work within those contexts. But there's still this giant goal that seems so unattainable. It seems so far out. Like I need to be 60-year-old, like a 60-year-old man with years, decades of work to be able to make a photo book. And it's so daunting, but also I know that it's so achievable now But like photo books, man, that is it. That's like, if I can just make photo books and do galleries, that's it. That's all I want to be doing. 3, 2, 1. I see these groups of people coming together, about to cross. That looks really interesting. Or maybe there is one unique individual that's coming my way, and I play off of that individual, but also with what's on the right and the left side of the frame, like trying to bring purpose to all 4 corners of the frame. That's something that I've been working on, and not just like taking a, you know, a single photo. Oh, this is good. This is good. I'm drawn to 2 totally different things. I'm drawn to the big scenes, the wide, people coming in and out of frame, filling the corners, having interaction with each other as they're complete strangers. But then I'm obsessed with the small little details and subtleties of the human expression. Whether it was that guy I took a photo of on the phone, right with his knees slightly bent, writing a note. Like, it was just, there's something about his body language that I found super, super beautiful. I wanted to shoot it. So much of it's detail, but then so much of it's the big picture, what's going on in this frame, but also the uncanny and the irony of life in New York City. So a lot of times people just go out and they shoot photos and they take a photo of one person, they're front and center, like, oh my gosh, I just made a street. And I've done that so many times where I've just taken a photo of one person, center frame, and I think when I'm taking the photo, like, oh, this is gonna be so good. And then I get the scans back, I'm like, man, this is absolute trash. What was I thinking? Why did I waste a frame or take a photo of this moment when there's nothing going on? There's no story, there's nothing kind of coming in. I've wasted 4 corners of a frame. And since hearing Joel talk about that, I've tried to be more cautious on waiting for unlikely, uncanny things coming into my frame. I'm obsessed with things that don't make sense, but then things that make sense. Something unfolds before you, and you've got your settings ready to just pull the trigger. When I'm out there, man, I'm constantly thinking foreground, background, center frame, left corner, bottom right corner, and trying to give purpose to every corner of the frame and not wasting space. I try not to think too much. I just try to react. Going back to the point I had about, like, with photography being a massive highway and there's multiple different lanes, and feeling confident enough as a photographer to change lanes, which I highly encourage photographers to do. Don't get stuck in one lane shooting one thing for your whole life. You could do that, and that's fine. If that brings you joy, do that. But I encourage you. I have found so much beauty and joy when I've changed lanes and I experience the rush of excitement photographing something new and absolutely terrifying. I love, and personally, I thrive being thrown in and being situated in uncomfortable positions. I think creatively, I thrive in those kind of contexts. And so one thing recently that I was not expecting to ever photograph was I was reached out recently by a friend of mine, Leon Bridges, to go on tour with him in Australia and New Zealand. That was literally the last thing I probably ever thought myself photographing or ever embarking on. When Leon called, we had like a portrait session a few months prior and just kind of hit it off. He and I, the way that he works, I am obsessed with his fashion, his choice of fashion. Also, his music has been, massively inspiring for me, and I love his work. So it was just like for us, it was like a match made in heaven. He loved what I do and did, and I love what he does and has done. So when he asked me, I was just like, A, I was freaking out. B, I was incredibly stoked. C, I was terrified because it's like, I've never done this before. But honestly, it was such an incredible experience. I went out to Australia and New Zealand for about 2 weeks, and Leon was just like, yo, do your thing, photograph me whenever, however. And that's like what I absolutely love, that I got to be a fly on the wall and to like see Leon interact with his bandmates and with his fans, and I was just there to document that. And it was so beautiful that there wasn't too much like, posing, hey, Leon, come over here. There was that when we went off and hit the streets of Auckland and just made some portraits. We had those moments, but 90% of the time was just me being there, being present, documenting his journey. And I was just so blessed and fortunate. Guys, thank you so much for following along on this. Willem, thank you for having me. Hopefully you guys found something beneficial from my story and perspective and had a fun time. Feel free to check me out on YouTube. I did just start one a few weeks ago. I'm having a crap ton of fun. My good buddy Willem inspired me to get that. Also, Joe Greer and Joe Street on Instagram. Peace. I did the Willem thing. Peace.
Ooh, that was good. I like that. There you go.
Love it.
That was fun, man.
I filmed it, my first video. I was doing my, my iPhone thing in my room, and I ended, and I was like, peace. I was like, no. Nope, that's Willem's thing. Stop, cut, and I like ended the video. I was like, I got to redo that ending because I can't take Willem's thing.